Alright, so in this video, I'm just going to quickly give you a run through with what we're going to do in the advanced cursor videos that's following, simply so that you have a broad eagle view type of video to see how all these things fit in together, and then afterwards we will tackle each one of these concepts, principles, and advanced setups one by one in different videos. So in cursor, the first thing, if you look as an example to the left at the bottom of the prompts, you can go into plan mode, agent mode, ask mode, debug mode. Now, just ask mode, I want to explain something in ask mode. Instead of using something like ChatGPT or something like that, you can also use ask mode for other things than coding. For example, we want to create a special on a web page. We want to get rid of excess stock, and please create me a marketing on-brand ideas that we can put on the front page and even in the newsletter to promote this new discounted or discount for the next 3 weeks. And it will do it for you. Then the minute you go out of ask plan, or if, let's say, he gave you a very nice setup of a marketing idea to put on your front page, you can go out of ask mode, back into agent mode, and say, all right, implement these ideas on the front page, also the shop page, and create me an email sequence I can send to the newsletter subscribers. And he will do that. So that is very much agent mode, will do whatever you want. Ask mode, you ask things. Normally it will be code related, or you can say, you know what, I want to make all these pages do a little bit of moving using JavaScript. What is the best plugin to do it? What is the industry standard to do these things, and so forth. And now I want to talk about plan mode. So what plan mode will do for you is create a plan for something that you want to execute, that's not just normally change a font or create a new page or create a menu. You want to implement something like a full shopping cart system on your website, or you want to implement a blog post backend where you can add new blog posts, or you want to things like that, right? So if you look at what I asked it, I said, please create a plan to create a website with a backend where admins can add menu items like different coffees and baked goods. This site must be inviting and professional. Also create a to-do list for yourself to follow, and it will do it. It came back with a couple of questions for me. And this is, you know, I've said it so many times, this is the magic of a plan. It will ask you questions, things you haven't thought of. Now, granted, this plan I wanted to create is extremely limited. You know, normally in the plan you will be much more, or give much more details. For instance, it's a coffee shop in a high-class mall and things like that. So it will come back and ask me things, as you can see here, which stack should be implemented. So I'll say 1A, because I would love it to use Next.js maybe. Or how about, I think let's go for B. I love React. What's the next question? How should admin access work from adding, updating menu items? Uh, B to B. So Superbase have its own admin role tables that you can use, so that Superbase will manage your whole access to the backend, to your admin area. What makes this also very nice is you can have different users with different access levels. So some of them can add products, some of the guys might be able to change product pricing and things like that. So he asked me that, and I'll say continue. No, come on. Why don't you want to continue? Okay, let me first just answer this. That's maybe its problem. All right, and while it's preparing this whole plan, you can see how it's building it out. I want to talk about cursor rules and cursor skills. So the difference between, for example, a rule and a skill is, a rule is boundaries that you set for cursor. For instance, don't just take documents and throw them there in the root of the file system. You want a docs folder with subcategories, and that's where documents should be saved. Also, you need a file called .git ignore, I think, if I remember correctly. .git ignore, and everything in the doc folder should always be ignored when you sync to GitHub. So documentation is not unnecessarily sent. You can say always use Lucid fonts, so it doesn't go and grab different fonts, icons. So if you want all your fonts to have the same look and feel, tell it in the rules what it should use. Skills, on the other hand, is more things that help your cursor implement things. For example, how should it connect to Superbase? What can it do on Superbase? It should always use row level security. You can have a skill about how should it send email, should it use resend, how should it do it, things like that. So you can create many little skills, so that cursor don't have to go and try to figure out the same thing over and over, and you'll find yourself creating skills very often. For instance, I have a pay fast skill, which is a South African payment gateway, and just by looking at the skill set, cursor can set up your pay fast, token based payments, anything you like from that skill set, and it will do it first time. Now, you don't write the skills manually yourself. You can ask cursor to write the skills for you, as well as rules. So I just want to look here in the right hand side. You can see there's a .cursor directory, and if you click on it, what you'll see is at this point there's a rules folder, and there's one rule that I created in there. And a rule is really just a markdown file, and cursor wrote it for me after I've told it, you know what, I will always want to use React, TypeScript, Tailwind, Lucid, and GSAP. GSAP is a JavaScript that give you all kinds of professional movements, fonts moving and so forth on your website. So it asked me, oh no, this is just the to-dos on the planning. But also, if you go way to the top, the gear icon, cursor settings, and if you type into that search space rules, you'll see, for instance, there's that rule added. You can either add new rules directly from here by copy pasting things from your cursor prompt, or you can just write the cursor prompt, and Cursor is clever enough to just add it here. But yes, there's also a place for skills where you can add skills. And skills is one of those things. If you've written one skill and it works nice, you use that skill always in different projects. For instance, you will struggle maybe a little bit in the beginning to create a payment gateway. And then once all the struggle is over, you say to Cursor, create me a skill for this gateway so we don't have to struggle like this all the time. So that is it for the very basics we're going to do. But let's go back to the plan. And what you can see is it create a plan in MD format with diagrams and things like that. And I also asked him to create his own to-do list, which he did. So he'll start marking off things as he's doing it. And you can simply click build here or build there, and it will start building it. Before build, you can say, you know what, after each major step, pause and give me a test sequence to test what you have done so far. You go through the test sequence, he'll ask you to click on this button, see if this works, that works, even go to Superbase, go to the table, see if it's working, what's inside the table, blah, 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 right? And then you can say, all right, continue, and it'll continue with the next stuff, stop again, get you to test things, and it will go on until this whole site is completed. So that's it for a quick run through. Planning, asking, rules, which is you set boundaries, and skills, you basically give Cursor skills on how to do things, like job descriptions in a in sort of a way. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to now jump straight over to planning and go through the whole sequence of planning with testing and so forth. I'll see you there. Bye.